Alliance. He is the beast from Hollywood East, Michael the Hammer Mulligan.
Hey folks, Michael Hammer Mulligan. Doing a couple fireside chats today. First one is going to be with Mark Featherstone. Mark is a great guy. He's a personal trainer and he trains mixed martial arts athletes. He's actually working with my son Eric for his football. You know, he's going back to school, so he's getting him prepped and ready to go. And he's training my other son Shaney. Shaney's a mixed martial arts fighter, wrestler at Plymouth South High School. And so Mark's a great guy. He's got a wealth of knowledge about your body and, you know, how to train for this sport in particular. The next guy is Steve the Sandman Dunn. Steve's from the south side of Brockton. He's a great guy. If something goes bump in the night, it's usually him. Stick around for him. He's a character, good fighter. He's fighting, I believe, in October for a title, but we'll hear more about that in a minute. Thanks for coming. Stay tuned. Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Fireside with Michael Hammer Mulligan. Today our guest is Mark Featherstone. What's up, Mark?
How you doing?
Good, hanging in there, man. Alright, so I met Mark a few years ago. I seen him around at all the local fights, and I seen him at the gym one day at Powerhouse, and you know, gym's kind of an awkward place. You know, you never know whether to approach him, but you know, it's kind of like,
very true.
It is. It's weird. It's kind of weird, you know. But I went up and asked him if he was a fighter, and just obvious reasons, and he said no, he wasn't. He's just a fan of the sport, which is great, great. So anyways, Mark turned out to be a trainer, and at this point I have two of my sons training with Mark. Two different things. One of them, Eric, is training for football.
Yep. Right?
Yeah. And Shaney's training to be a mixed martial arts fighter.
Yep.
So I'm going to let Mark tell you a little bit, well, which one you want to start with. Eric, I want to start with the difference between the two, I guess. The difference between the two, you know, training sessions.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to put weight on Shane, so what we're doing with him is we're doing a lot of heavy weight. And we're doing a lot of volume, as in we're doing a lot of sets.
Yep.
What that's going to do is it's going to make his muscles break down more so that they have to grow. And it's going to tell him, hey, if we're going to lift this all the time, we're going to have to get bigger to do it. So that's what it causes. And we're making him do it on a regular basis, 3 days on, 1 day off. And that will cause growth and cause weight gain, which is what he's looking to do. So that's what we're doing with him.
Nice.
The difference between that and what we're doing with Eric is we're trying to get his cardio up, we're trying to lose a little bit of weight, and we're trying to gain a little bit of flexibility because he's really a gigantic beast of a boy. So we've got him doing box jumps and speed drills and running.
I've never seen him run that. I seen him running today. I went, oh my God, that kid's flying.
Yeah, and he's like a Mack truck. So I do a lot of that, and then I do what we call circuit training, and I have him do a lot. I'll have to set up 3 exercises, and I have him do 15 reps of those exercises, and I have him do 5 sets of all 3 of those exercises. And it's pretty quick paced, and it's very metabolic. It keeps his heart rate up, and it causes his aerobic to go up, but it's more metabolic than it is aerobic, so it keeps his metabolism higher throughout the day. So that's what we're doing with him.
Nice.
He's improved a lot.
He really has. Both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Eric,
very strong.
Eric looks great. He leaned down a lot, and his flexibility is huge. The things that he can do that he couldn't do before.
Yep.
Shane, the strength that he's gained through this, the weight you put the weight on, exactly what we wanted him to be at. He's there.
Good.
So you train other fighters too, correct?
Correct. Okay.
So as this obviously being a fighting show, what is your goal when you're training a fighter? What are you trying to do with this guy?
It depends on the fighter. I've worked with some younger ones that are smaller, way in the 150s.
Yep.
And I've worked with some heavyweights, 250 plus. The goal is to see where they stand. One thing I found with working with mixed martial artists is that their recovery time is amazing. Yeah. And their endurance, obviously, their conditioning is great. So I have to do something that goes along with that. So I have them do a lot of reps of stuff. Nice. What I've found a lot of is when you're fighting, when you're throwing punches, it's your body and its momentum and it's everything you've got. So I've found some 250-pound heavyweights that cannot bench press for their life. So I'm not going to put numbers down there. So the plan behind that is to take somebody who can throw a really good punch anyway and add some strength behind that. So it's going to be an even more powerful punch. Nice. So that's really kind of the goal for that.
Nice. Now, you have, I I see posts. What is the Warriors? What is this?
Oh, the Warriors is a kids class that we came up with. It's 2 days a week, and it's it's for 12 to 18, but we've got 12 to 15-year-olds. I've got about 14, literally 14 kids were here Tuesday.
Nice.
And I run them through circuits. So I set up 14 obstacles, I'll call them, like box jumps and step ups, and I set up 2 Bosu balls and have them do foot fires on that and stuff like that. And basically that's to keep them in shape, because they're all athletes, and that's to keep them in shape over the summer, so that when they go back to school they don't have to start from scratch.
Nice.
Yeah.
Last year, I think, what was the name of that thing that you had? You had something at the gym. It was some kind of event that you had outside, and you had a young kid, Dylan, who took the whole thing. It was like everybody saw.
It was an obstacle course.
Yeah.
It was a 300-pound tire that they had to flip 10 times, a 200-pound sled they had to drag 50 feet. They had to go through a box jump alley, which was like 8 box jumps. Then they had to do something called Move the Mountain, which was medicine balls. They had to move them 50 feet from one mountain to another,
nice.
And then back. So it was sprinting with a 25-pound ball. Then we did
now this was called the strongman competition.
Yeah, it was called the strongman obstacle course, because the strongman got pissed at me for saying it was a strongman, because this isn't a strongman course. You do one event.
Yeah.
Or a strongman course.
Yeah.
But then we ended it with a Jeep pull, and that was really cool. So
yeah,
it came
nice.
Thrill pulling a Jeep. Yeah.
So Dylan was out what, 16 or something?
Dylan is 18 now, so he won at 17, and then he won again this spring at 18.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
He's quite an athlete, yeah.
And that was basically condition. I think that had a lot to do with the wrestling and the strength training and everything else. Yeah, that was awesome. Mark, if they want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
You can email me at doginplymouth@comcast.net, or you can call me 617-669-5340, or call Powerhouse Gym in Plymouth. That's where I do all of my training right now, and I think I'm going to stick with that, because I've got a great facility there, and I have full...
It is nice. You got full reign over there.
Full reign.
Since Mark's been there, I've seen so many different things going on in the gym that weren't there before. It's it's always been a nice place to go. But as gyms go, if you go to, I think it's Planet Fitness, they really have nothing. I mean, Planet Fitness, the bunker alert, whatever. You go in there and you get kicked out because you got a gallon of water, whatever. And that's fine. I can understand that some people need to be in that atmosphere. Right. It's a little bit more mellow and stuff. And I'm not saying this isn't the, you walk into the gym and there's 1,000 walkers in there that are going to scare you away either. There's some really good programs that go in there. My mother's been doing a spin class and all the aerobics. Everybody goes there. It's a really good.
Well, we do. We encourage people to get big, which Planet Fitness doesn't. Most gyms don't. We have 160-pound dumbbells. No gym around has anything like that. So we encourage bodybuilders. Yes, we do. But we also have functional training for the everyday athlete, the people who want to do functional training or CrossFit or height. And then we have the classes, and we have an aerobics room, and we're actually going to expand the upstairs, and I don't know whether we're going to put a boxing ring or a cage in, but we're going to do some really
it's going to be nice. And me, I think that's great, because look, I go at night when I can. Everybody goes at night. They do their stuff at their schools, at CCFA, at Social Sport, wherever they go, they do that. But to have a place that you can go to and do this during the day is just awesome. And you can do it on your own. You don't have to have everybody there with you.
Right.
So the stuff that I saw in there that I think is impressive, and I think it's more impressive that people actually use it now, because I see the ropes, you got that thing with the rope and the people do it. I see people climbing ropes. I haven't seen that since high school.
I know, right?
Right? You get the big tires out there, the kettlebells, all that kind of stuff, the sledgehammers, so it's a fun gym. It's fun to go there. Mark really helps people out, even when he's working on himself, likes to get into his own thing, but he'll always stop to help somebody else. It's kind of, but it's a nice thing.
I think people should be safe and healthy, and I want to promote it any way I can.
Right. I'm just going to pump up that juice bar.
Absolutely. Most places don't even have a juice bar anymore. So we're almost a relic because we do that.
I was almost talking. I was thinking of talking to Ron down the street at Mary Lou's, having him hook up the.
That would be good. There was that place that that guy used to have outside of Planet Fitness for
Jimmy
a while.
Cole. Yeah, he's my buddy. Yeah.
I guess he never reopened, but that.
You know what happened with that is they jumped the lease up like twice as much on him. It was in a time when it was bad already. It was just awful. It was awful. Great kid. His girl was a trainer. Great people, nice people. But all right, Mike Featherstone, thank you very much for coming on.
Peace, people.
Michael the Hammer Mulligan. If you need to get fit, Mike's the guy.
Right on.
Thanks for coming to another Fireside Chat. folks. Welcome to another fireside chat with Michael, the Hammer Mulligan, and Steve, the Sandman Dunn.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, Stevie?
I'm chilling.
Nice. So we had Steve on before. It was on one of the YouTube ones. Today we're going to talk about a few things. First of all, if you got a fight coming up.
October 7th, I have a rematch for the AFO for the 170-pound title against Patty Thompson.
Nice. Now, you fought him before?
I fought him January 8th of this year. I ended up getting triangled in the first round, end of the first round. It was a good fight up until that point.
Yep.
So, see what happens.
Yep.
It's going to be a war.
I haven't said that. I haven't asked anybody, and I know from experience, because I've been through it, what it's like to lose and then go back and fight the guy again. What was it like for you that day when after the fight was over?
I heard him a couple times during the fight.
Yep.
So I feel like I won the battle, but I lost the war.
Sure.
So my head was up. You know, I'll be 46 in 3 weeks. So if I was 26, it should bother me. It doesn't bother me.
Right.
As long as I try my hardest.
Yeah.
So
You did your part.
I did. I tried my hardest.
Right. And you love the sport.
Love it. I love contact sports. I love combat sports.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? What kind of game does Patty have?
Patty's he's got good stand up. Kid's got a lot of heart.
How old is he?
He's 27, 26, 27. He was born the year I graduated. So.
Oh wow.
You know how that goes, Hammer.
Yeah. What year was that?
Yeah.
I was 82.
Yeah, well, it was right around there. I was surprised by his jits. I really wasn't hip that he was that good on the ground.
Yep.
So I thought I could get in his guard and beat him up. It didn't work out like that.
Yeah, it's a young man's game too.
It sure is.
Yeah.
And I went like 150 miles an hour, so at the end of the round I was a little tired.
Yeah.
So now I'm working on controlling my my aggression, I guess.
But, yeah, well, like I said, I was there in the same position, and I learned from that experience and went back and won, and I expect you're probably going to do the same thing.
I think I'm going to.
That's the plan.
Yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to be better at things that I'm improving in 3 or 4 different areas right now. So, I mean, obviously he's going to be getting better too. The thing with him, he's been doing it a lot longer than me, so he doesn't have as much room to get better, I would think, as I would, since I've only been doing it for a couple of years.
Right. I understand what you mean.
More room for improvement.
Did you go to Thailand?
Went to Thailand twice. I love that. I can't wait to get back there. I went to Fairtex.
Yeah, sure.
In Pattaya,
Fairfax or Tex?
Fairtex in Pattaya City, Thailand. It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would advise anybody who wants to fight professionally, if they got the means, to get out there for a month or 2.
How did you come up with that? I mean, who pointed you in that direction?
Crew John Allen at Y Crew was talking about, he was bringing some people there. I overheard the conversation. I went home that day, bought a ticket, and I was there 2 weeks later.
Wow, huh?
Then the next time I went back a month and a half later by myself for 3 weeks. I improved dramatically in my Muay Thai. But, you know, with the wrestling, I don't use it. You don't get to see me do it because I get the wrestling background.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do, this sport, you've got to have everything. You got to, look at, if nothing else, you need to know how it works so that you can defend against it.
Exactly. You know, I went there thinking I was going to come out and use that in my fight. My instincts go back to wrestling.
Sure.
But I know I can tie up. I know I got knees. I get the elbows now. So, you know, it's just a little something else added to the arsenal.
Yeah. Nice. Now, when you see, I'm interested in this because I want to send him. I want to send my boy there. I actually want to go diving. I'd love to train. I know it's very difficult training over there. They work you very hard. Now, Pat Schultz went with Tom over there to their school with Crew Choi School.
Yeah.
So that's why but yeah, that's a great experience.
It is a great experience. It'd be a great experience for Shane, your son. You know, he's 16. That'd be a world-changing experience for him.
Sure.
For me, it was just another day at the beach, basically. I like to roll by myself, so I was over there doing my thing.
Yeah.
You know.
It's kind of funny too because I had somebody kind of the same way as me. I had a guy tell me once. He goes, you know, most people live this much life.
I like to do things that are light on the edge. So
sure.
You know, I like to take some risks and get in there.
Why not? That's why you're doing this. That's why you're in mixed martial arts. All right, so your game, you're a wrestler from way back. We talked about this before, but again, we talked about you going to learn the Muay Thai as, for nothing else, as a defense if you don't get to use it as much. But your wrestling is phenomenal.
My wrestling base is very good for MMA. When I wrestled, I wasn't really technically pretty or none of that garbage. I was bulldogish. So it really translates real good with the MMA because you don't have to be technically sound. You have to be committed and you have to be aggressive.
I think commitment is probably the key word there in this sport, in any style.
Especially for takedowns with the wrestling. If you're committed 70%, you're going to end up with 70% of takedowns.
If that.
Right now, I'm 13 for 13 for takedowns in my MMA career. When I shoot on people, it's like a car crash. You know, I'm not shooting, I'm not grabbing your leg and staying there. I'm going to drive you into the cage and go from there.
Yep, exactly. Beautiful. All right, now, explain. I see some pictures. I see, what's up with the movie? Tell me about the movie thing. This is funny. I'm jealous.
My first, I can get you into this too if you want.
Can you good? Yeah, I'd love to.
They're looking for some Irish thugs and I think you could play the role. Yeah, the hammer time.
Just show them some of these and they'll get the picture.
My first fight, Matt Dumont taped the first fight I was in, and he had taped a couple interviews, MMA interviews with me. So he said that he produces movies, and
nice.
he was writing a movie. Would I be interested in playing a part? I told him, of course I would be. So he wrote a part for the Sandman, and he wrote a part for John Doomsday Howard. So me and Doom are hitmen.
Nice.
So I'm already typecast.
Yeah, there you go. That's all right.
Who better to play a gangster than a gangster? But, so we're in the
Southside.
So we're in the process of doing that. I got like 4 or 5 more shoots for my parts anyway, and they're looking at it. Comes out in January.
Beautiful.
It's called Portico. It's based in Boston. It's a mob movie, Italian mob with some Irish gangsters, and you know, the trailer that I've seen looks pretty good.
Oh, nice.
So
that's good. I love that. Was it Drummond? Who was one of the actors I seen in the picture? Who's in the picture?
Me, Doomsday, and Drummond. Dumont and Drummond were in the picture I had the other day. Nicky Boom Boom Drummond from Y Crew. He plays the thug. We're all basically playing thugs.
Nice.
I told the guy that directed it, I said I probably couldn't play tall.
I can play tall.
Yeah, see,
I can play tall.
I can't play tall.
I went to Boston and took acting lessons, and I used to drive to New York on Tuesdays to take acting lessons because after Shaney's gone, after the house is empty, the kids are done, then I want to go do this stuff.
Well, you look comfortable in
feel
front of the
good.
camera. Like I said, I could definitely get you a part in this, like maybe coming up this week.
Oh, beautiful. You heard it, folks, right here. Steve the Sandman Dunn is hooking up the hammer.
Yes, hooking up the hammer. This is my second time at the fireside chat, so I feel a little more comfortable this time. And I respect the hammer and the whole thing he's doing.
Listen, AFO, who runs that?
Pete DiLorenzo and Mark Vaz.
You got to hook me up with those guys because I'd like to get him in here. Get them in here, get a chat with them.
Those guys are promoters. Mark was a boxing promoter for years in the area. And Pete's from Rhode Island, he's been doing his thing. They have one of the most active promotions in the Northeast.
Nice. And they put on a good show. They have some really good fighters. I mean, it's not a joke. I mean, they do real good fights.
It's not lions versus meat.
Right, exactly.
There's a lot of lions against lions. It's very competitive. And their amateur program is very competitive.
Yep.
So, you know, on the card that I'm fighting on October 7th, I think Lee Bean's going to be fighting for the title that night also.
Beautiful.
So this card's going to be off the hook. My last fight I had with them, I brought 250 people and the place was off the hook.
Where is it being held?
Mansfield Holiday Inn.
Mansfield. Oh, I was there. That's the one with the chandelier?
On Hampshire Street in Mansfield.
Yep. Now, I'm not used to these guys. I haven't, you know, because they haven't done anything here, so I'm not sure how it works. A lot of the way that the fighters get paid is by buying tickets from the fighters, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I get a percentage from my ticket sales. I usually just, the money I would make off the percentages, I usually give tickets to people that don't have money. So I usually don't make much.
Yeah, I guess my point is that it's better for the fighters, their friends, and everybody else if you buy them from the fight. Now, folks, this is the thing. These are local guys. this whole show, it's all local people, and you need to get out and take a look at these guys, see who's in your backyard. They're really, really nice people. Steve's, yeah, just a great guy. I've watched him grow in this sport since his first fight. Again, he's going to Thailand. People, when I say it's like a family, people get committed to this sport.
It really is a family. Every single person I've met, I like.
Exactly. There's a few, you know, look, in everything there's going to be a few that rub you the wrong way, but go the other way. Who cares?
You know,
all of them in the ring.
Our first interview, you said I rubbed you the wrong way. People are gonna rub you the wrong way. You know, give them a second chance or whatever, or walk the other way, like you said.
Yeah, I just did one with Dwayne. I mean, if you honestly look at Dwayne walking down the street and you don't know Dwayne, he's got tattoos everywhere, and he's got the. You would not picture him as the real person that he is.
Dwayne Fort's a good guy. I met him. He's a correction officer. I met him on the other side of the fence. But occupational hazard. That was a long time ago. But Fort's is a good dude.
Yeah,
so,
he is.
You know, like I said, every single person I met, I like.
Yeah, and it's all something in common here. That's the thing. It's a melting pot. Everybody here is for one thing, and that's to learn mixed martial arts, to fight, and to become a part of something. You know what I mean? It makes you feel good.
You know, you say to fight. I basically think it's to not fight.
Okay.
The better you get at this,
right,
the fewer.
Well, when I say fight, I mean in the ring.
Right.
I mean as a sport, not as a
The more I'm learning, the less I used to be a street fighter. Terrific street fighter. It sort of would shame me right now if I'm gonna fight in the street.
Right.
Because of my background.
Yep.
You're having Patty Thompson on.
I'm trying to. I talked to one of the guy, Impact Fighters, what is that? This guy's Mike, and he told me he was going to get Patty. He worked with Patty, and I called a couple other people trying to get him as well. So I'm trying to get him on here. That is my goal, because I'd like to have the both of you. I think it'll be great.
He's a real good guy, stand-up kid, got a lot of heart.
And that's the other thing, too. You don't see many feuds. You don't see many guys coming in here and saying, oh, this guy's... Every once in a while, you get the guys that... You know, it's mostly the younger kids that have a problem with somebody. You know, when I was going with Foley, it was a blast. I sat here and blasted him on Facebook for fun. It was all entertainment value. Trust me, when we get in the ring, it's not entertainment. It hurts.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you got to have fun with it. This is a fun thing.
This will be my 9th fight, and I haven't had an issue with anybody I fought. A couple guys have said a couple things online. If I was 25 years old, that might bother me.
Your brain isn't there anymore.
You know what I mean? I've already won. Doing it at my age, I feel like I've already won. So if you can beat me in the cage, all the power to you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it.
You're not here for them. You're here for you.
I'm here for me.
Right.
I already won.
Exactly.
So if you can beat a guy that don't really care if he loses, it's a tough guy to beat.
Yeah. Folks, Steve the Sandman Dunn, thank you for being here.
Mike Hammer.
I appreciate it. Michael the Hammer Mulligan, thanking you for coming to another Fireside Chat.
Thanks, guys.
Hey folks, Michael Hammer Mulligan here with Gary Foreman. Gary, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk
whatever
about
you want.
pancreation.
We're going to talk about pancreation.
I want to know about pancreation.
Well, to me, as you know, as your son was the big winner at our last tournament.
Hell yeah, he was.
It was actually really, really impressive. I really feel like we've created a sport that is the future of tournament competition.
Nice.
You know, for anybody who doesn't know what pancreation is yet, pancreation is actually, it's the oldest form of mixed martial arts there is. It dates all the way back to 648 BC. It was actually an Olympic sport.
Nice.
You know,
it's like Greeks.
The Greeks.
The Greeks, yeah.
But
the Greeks.
Back then there was only 2 ways to win.
Yeah.
The guy either tapped out or you killed him.
Or he's dead.
So we've come you know, a long way since then. Actually, the referees used to carry a poker. So if you didn't move, they'd poke you and get you,
Or to see if you're dead.
Or to see if you're dead, yeah, one or the other.
Nice.
So now we've created... That's what I'm talking about.
When do we start?
But now we've created a sport that is all about safety. It's all about, for the first time in a tournament setting, that we can take the traditional martial arts world and the mixed martial arts world and bring them together so that everybody can kind of see how their discipline matches to other people's discipline.
Right.
So the rules of pancration is really kind of simple. You think of it as point sparring, standing up,
Yep.
with no contact to the face. So basically, from the collarbone to the waist,
Yep.
you can punch and kick for points, not to injure, and then you can take it to the ground and grapple.
Yep.
And then once it goes to the ground, it's just grappling. So
Now,
this is about as pre-MMA as you're going to get.
well, this is it. Now, Shane, like you talked about, Shane is 16 years old. He's been training for a few years. He wants to be a mixed martial arts fighter. He will be a mixed martial arts fighter, but this is something that he really wants to do. He's been training down here since he was 11 years old. He did karate when he was younger. He did some point stuff when he was younger. For me as a parent, I want to make sure that when he gets out there, it's great. You get to see him train, you get to see him spar in the dojo and everything else, and you get to see all the stuff going on. But I, as a parent, am still a parent, and I still have fear for my son.
Of course.
So when he was out there sparring, it was nice to know that he gets to start and kind of get weaned into this MMA by doing this. So when he's out there and he's throwing punches and kicks, but he can't hit above the collarbone, as you say. When they go down onto the ground, nobody's punching him in the face, nobody's punching him on the ground, they're just going for submissions. And I think, isn't there an age group when they can't even do submissions under that?
Under 8 years old, once they go to the ground, it's position only.
Right.
So no submission. And the best part about it, where fighters in MMA really get hurt is from elbows.
Right.
So we don't allow elbows, we don't allow knees, we do allow kicking, but the kicking all has to be, under the collarbone, and you're wearing shin pads.
Right.
So,
and you need to, look at, there's two factors here. One, of course, is safety, and that's why the pancration is a great thing. Even hey, Shane tapped out the 30-some-year-old, fighter, an MMA fighter. I mean,
he did.
He was great. I mean, but the thing is the safety issue was there. But also, you have to be able to use your art. Also, you have to be able to use your tools somehow. So you got to be. It's a great mix of the two things, of safety and using them.
I think it gives somebody an opportunity, like you said. Hey, Shane is 16 years old, couldn't do MMA if he wanted to.
Right.
So for 2 years, he can do these type of tournaments. So by the time he actually gets put onto the scene as an MMA fighter, he will have 2 years of experience that, previously nobody ever had.
Correct.
So we think we've created a sport for the future where, hey, if you're a professional, if you're a kid, if you're a woman, if you're a guy who, is somebody that loves to train at an MMA school, but maybe not quite ready for a fight, this is a place for you.
Yep. Now, again, on my case with Shane, we made the decision for him not to play football. So he's a wrestler. He'll be the captain of the wrestling team. He's a great wrestler. We don't want him to play football for a couple of reasons. One, because he wants to spend more time with these arts, with the mixed martial arts. And the other thing is because of injuries. Now, I know, just 3 people from last year, that graduated or the year before last, that went to colleges that can't play anymore because they had so many concussions. Right. I mean, it's a tough sport. So people say to me that, geez, you really want your kid getting into that? Isn't that a hard sport? Answer, no.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, there's less injury in MMA than there is in boxing. So we hear it all the time for the older generation who grew up on boxing.
Correct.
Who haven't quite made the leap over to MMA. They say, oh, that's a brutal sport. But we see fights that last less than 30 seconds where a guy gets submitted and never got punched once.
Right.
There's a big difference between 2 boxers who stand up and punch each other in the face for 10 rounds.
There's hundreds and hundreds of punches.
Right. And
right.
So, hey, just probably you did. I grew up on boxing because there wasn't anything else.
Yep.
There really wasn't a whole lot on TV, so we used to do, we used to go to the fights with my father.
Sure.
Now with everything on TV all the time, the same now with MMA on TV all the time.
Yeah.
It sort of takes away from that bonding experience that you had, you know, with the parents, you know, with, like I have with my father, going to these things, you know, they had them on Friday nights, you know, once a month or once every other month, and, you know, that was the only outlet we had to, I mean, it was relatively cheap, you know, to go to these fights.
Yep.
They were the neighborhood fights.
Right.
You know, and that's what we kind of grew up on.
Yep.
So seeing all that and seeing the MMA, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love MMA as you do.
Yep.
This is a way to get people sort of a minor league system who may never make it to the majors and may never want to make it to the majors doing MMA.
Yep.
This is a place, hey, we have a saying in our organization, we want you to leave the same way that you showed up. You know?
A little better shape.
Well, I'm talking about coming to the tournament.
Oh, I got you.
You know,
Yeah,
we want you to leave the same way you showed up. So, you know, if our officials sees that somebody's trying to hurt or injure, they're disqualified immediately.
Right.
There's not, we don't go for any of that. We don't go for, you know, anything that looks like it's not what we want. And what we want is we want people to come and not have to worry about getting hurt.
Right. So it's basically like the point system karate, but it has more involved in it. Now, the point that I was making about Shaney as the wrestler and not doing football is this, he still wants to compete. He wants to compete in something. So in the off season and the times when he's not wrestling, when he's wrestling, he's wrestling. That's what he's got to do. When he's training for, let's say he's training for a Muay Thai smoker, that's what he's training for. You know, each thing is different. You know, but when he's training for pancreation, he's doing everything, which is nice. So this is filling the void. You know, all the other kids are going to be out playing football, doing this stuff. They get hit in the head on a daily basis, period. That's just the way it is. Shaney's in, he's training in there, he's training every day, and he's training with experts that know what they're doing, and he does not get hurt. You know, every once in a while, he's got a bruised leg from getting leg kicked by a guy that got overzealous after he punched him a couple times. But hey, this is what happens, but it is nowhere near the stuff that happens on the football field or in boxing, as you say, when they get hit multiple times for 12 rounds or whatever in the head.
I mean, if you think about the old days, guys, I mean, when I started watching boxing was 15 rounds.
Right, exactly.
Then they went to 12 rounds.
Remember the old one? Was it a guy that went 100 rounds or something? Remember back?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Then it went to 12 rounds, and now I think they're 10 rounds.
Yeah.
But boxing, to me, you know, it has a place in my life, you know, because that's what I grew up on.
Right.
But my kids are at the point where they don't care about boxing. They don't even really know. Hey, when you don't know about the history of something, you know, we knew about the history of boxing because that's all we really had. Now, you know, there's so many other outlets, you know, whether it be sporting. I mean, you've got ESPN, you got ESPN2, you have Sports Channel, you have Nesson, you have all these outlets. We didn't have any of those.
Right.
So,
but the thing is, too, is you're not sitting, you know, sure, you get together sometimes with your parents on a Sunday or whatever, but everybody's got cell phones, everybody's got this, everybody's got their mind somebody else. So something like this, the Pancration Games, gives you a venue where you can go to at a reasonable cost with your family.
right.
And enjoy yourselves. I mean, the reason I fought, one of the main reasons that I started fighting was my first fight that I went to. Greshey was fighting. Diekman and Foley fought two separate people that night. I think Foley won the belt. I think Diekman fought Pat Schultz. That's what it was. I said, I'm going to fight. That was the night. That was the night that I said, I'm going to fight.
You know how many people watch Josh Diekman fight and then say, hey, I want to do it?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I know, you know, Mark Griffin got into fighting because he saw Josh Diekman fight.
Yeah, and I wanted to fight Josh. That was my goal, but I ended up fighting Foley, yeah.
Hey, Mark wants to fight him now.
Yep.
And he wants to fight him because he's a legend.
Because you respect him.
That's right.
He's very respectable. He's not a bum. He's not a you know, cigarette smoking turtle up bum that you don't want to fight. I mean, I didn't say it. Look. He's a great, and that was the thing with Foley. That was a great man who goes out there and works his tail off, and you want to fight the guys that mean something.
Absolutely. So, like Josh's situation, Josh is a CFX heavyweight champion.
Yep.
And he always says, hey, I was fighting before it was cool to fight.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people have got into the sport. There's a lot of guys that get into the sport who really don't want to fight. They want to look like fighters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Josh is a guy who looks like a fighter.
Wants to be a
Who
fighter.
wants to be a fighter.
Yeah.
That's all he knows. He knows that. And, you know, we're proud that he's our heavyweight champion.
Yep.
And, you know, he's looking at possibly going down to 205.
I'd love to see him at 205.
Oh, he wants to fight.
I would love to see him
He
at
wants the
205.
Cody Lightfoot fight.
Oh, dude, I cannot
I know. Cody.
stand Cody Lightfoot.
Cody's your buddy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, jeez, I would love to see Josh.
Yeah,
beat him.
I don't. You know what?
Now, isn't Greg fighting him somewhere? Greg's
Yeah,
fighting him.
he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't have a negative thing to say about Cody.
I loved him. It was just, you know what it was? It was just, it was me and him just started and we just kept going. I love to do my little firesides. If you go on Google and you look at some of my old ones, you're going to find me doing one on Cody Lightfoot. You're going to find Cody Lightfoot's friend doing one on me. That was the first time somebody ever, and it was funny. It was funny. It was awesome. I loved it. So it's all fun for me, you know?
It should be fun. I mean, this is a sport, and, you know, when people take themselves or the sport too serious,
Right.
they're missing the boat.
Right.
You know, and really the boat is, we have something that's pretty special in this sport. We have something that, I mean, it's the fastest growing sport in the country.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, the way the UFC is going, it's going to blow up even more. I mean, they just signed a big deal with Fox.
Yeah, I saw that.
$100 million deal to do 4 or 5 fights a year on Fox, free television. So if we think that there are a lot of people who are starting to know MMA now,
Yep.
wait another year. And one thing that I was saying earlier, I was getting to about Shane,
Yep.
in the pancreation, in 5 to 10 years from now, the athletes that we're going to have doing this sport are going to be, I mean, they're going to be bigger, stronger, faster than they are right now, and they're going to be more well-rounded.
Just like everything, progression.
Progression, I mean, reality is that the football players of today are so big, strong, and fast. The football players of the 60s and 70s couldn't compete at
In this league.
in this
Right.
in this day and age.
Right.
And even if they were a great athlete of that time, and I'm sure there's some, I mean, but an offensive lineman, I think John Hanna played at 260 pounds.
Yep.
I mean, offensive linemen now are 320 pounds.
350? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
crazy.
You know, when the UFC first started, we had guys like Tank Abbott.
Yeah.
Hey, Tank was the man.
It's a barroom brawler.
He was
but
a barroom brawler.
awesome.
And we all loved him because of it.
Yep.
And what we saw when the UFC first started was, you know, we saw a 160-pound Oriental guy trying to fight a 300-pound Tank Abbott. They didn't really have weight classes. They didn't have any of that stuff. And then once it started maturing, you know, you had guys who, like the Mark Coleman, you had guys who are wrestlers.
Yep.
They come in, when they first came in, they really couldn't compete on the highest level because all they could do was that one thing.
Right.
They did that one thing really well, and, you know, that's why the Gracies owned the sport. They were so much better at jiu-jitsu than everybody else.
Correct.
Nowadays, you know, guys are getting to the point where they pretty much, they have knowledge in everything.
You have to.
You have to.
You
In
have
5 years from now, in 10 years from now, everybody's going to be Shane.
Yep.
Everybody's going to be a wrestler. Everybody's going to have a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. Everybody's going to have Muay Thai. Everybody's going to have boxing.
Yep.
And then, you know, maybe it'll be something else. What will set apart the MMA athlete from each other in 5 years from now?
Right.
Because now you look at it and, you know,
Well, here you go,
being
like
the
you said.
matchmaker, you have styles.
Right. Now you started off. What was the big deal? In the beginning, like you said, it was the bruisers coming in and it was big guys fighting little guys. It was just throwing people at each other, period. That was it.
Right.
Then it was, the key to the game was jiu-jitsu. That was it. That was the key. You had to be, the jiu-jitsu guy is always going to win. Who's going to win? Jiu-jitsu. Okay.
Right.
That was it. You had to be expert
Now
at
it's
that.
the wrestler.
Then it was, well, after that it was Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Right? So then Muay Thai was Muay Thai. All of these things. Now it's the wrestler, right? Now you get Jones, you get all these, you get Brock, you get all these people that are great wrestlers, you know, Division I wrestlers, whatever. So now what we're doing with Shane, with lots of other schools are doing the same thing with other people. Shane's now a blue belt.
Yeah.
He's been doing Muay Thai since he was 11 years old. He's 16. He's a captain of his wrestling team this year as a junior.
He's going to be a super stud by the time he actually gets into the cage, his first fight. Reality is he'll be tough to get a fight for, because a bunch of years ago, before the internet, you could, if you were a boxing promoter, you could say, hey, I want you to fight this guy.
Right.
There was no way of really knowing, what's the background of this guy. You took the fight.
Right.
Nowadays, you can just Google somebody, and they're going to see Shane's background.
Yep.
And say, let me see, for my first amateur fight, I want to fight somebody. By this time, he'll probably be, a blue belt or a purple belt.
He's already a blue belt.
So he'll probably be a brown belt.
Yeah, yeah.
So he'll be a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. He was a captain of his wrestling team.
Yep.
He's got extensive experience in Muay Thai.
Yep.
Do I really want to fight him my first time out?
Well, here it is, right here. We talk about this, but we're forgetting the fact that there's 100 other Shanes probably just in Massachusetts. In other words, there's a lot of schools out there that are doing the same things we are. And this is why pancreation is necessary, is because these kids need a place to compete so that they can hone their skills, they can find out where they're weak, they can find out where they're strong, and they can get to know. And you're right, you're going to see them on the internet, period. I'm a proud papa. I post
You
stuff.
posted that thing everywhere.
Mostly on Facebook. I do a lot of the stuff, the training stuff, on my personal stuff, but the fights and stuff, I'm going to post them. I'm a proud papa. That's what I do. What can I say? That's why I'm sitting here. This is it. It's mostly because of his future.
Yeah.
I want to make sure Gary's a great guy. I want to know the best people in this business. I want to get to know everybody in this business, because if he's going to be out there getting thrown in, I don't want him getting thrown into the lion's den. I want to know guys like this that can help and not hurt his career.
Yeah, I think that what you're going to see over the next year with the pancreation tournaments becoming more and more is a bunch of Shanes all find their way there, and maybe you'll have a group of guys who are like him, all around his age, that he can compete with.
Right.
And he'll get a better idea of where he's at.
Well, that's important. That's
Absolutely.
That's why I like the pancreation guy. He went there. He did great. But we need more people. I want to see the next pancreation games, and it's not only about him. I want to see a ton more kids there doing this too, for his benefit, for the sport's benefit, because I want this to grow.
So listen, let's talk about this. The next tournament is October 1st.
Thank you.
It's in North Smithfield, Rhode Island.
Again, that was a nice
Same
place,
place.
good venue.
Beautiful
It's just like the Jungleplex, but up the street in Rhode Island. Right.
Beautiful place, October 1st. You can go to napaga.com, napaga.com.
Yep.
On there, we've posted we've used Shane's video as, this is a perfect demonstration of what we're looking for our tournaments to look like.
Right.
Somebody who kicked and punched and, was getting points. He wasn't trying to hurt the kid.
Yep.
And he ended up...
No one got hurt.
Nobody got hurt.
No one got hurt that day.
No, nobody got hurt.
I think there was maybe one, 3-year-old or 5-year-old or something that got kicked for the first time, but that's natural. That's
those are going to happen.
Yep.
You know what's funny is that out of all the people that did attend, and for the first tournament, we were very happy
You
with.
did good, yeah.
We were very happy with the turnout.
Yep.
We said if this tournament is too big, the first time out, we might not be able to give the attention that it needs to certain areas, because we did a lot of trials.
It's like a Hell's Kitchen when 1 million people walk through the door.
It's hell. That's right, it's hell.
Yeah.
But it was very manageable.
A soft opening.
Yeah, soft opening for us. It was very manageable,
Yeah.
and we actually got to see, this is, to me, was the greatest thing. I started talking about pancreation about 2 years ago.
Yep.
And I started thinking about how can I create something that's different than what's out there right now? Because with MMA promotion, there's 1 million of them out there.
Sure.
And all doing the same thing. And we're one of them. We're looking for how do we create something that really nobody else is doing. There's pancreation tournaments in California.
Yep.
that are really big, but all they do is MMA on a mat.
It is too. I saw the videos. I know one of the kids that went out there and competed, and it was MMA on the mat. It was. It wasn't.
There was no enforcement of. There were really no rules that said, hey, you can't strike, you can't do this. You know, once you're on the ground, they allow knees to the body, they allow elbows to the body.
Right.
That's not what we're looking for. You know, what we're looking for is something that, hey, what's different? What's going to set what we're trying to do apart from what everybody else is trying to do? And we think that this form of pancration is the best way to do it. You know, if you look at the grappling tournaments that are out there, they have the ability to go after mixed martial arts schools,
Right.
grappling schools, judo schools, stuff like that. They don't bring in any traditional martial arts schools because they really don't do that.
Yeah, and this isn't a knock on those things either, because those are great for the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu schools.
Absolutely.
They're great for the people that train the wrestling, the Jiu-Jitsu. Cheney did that too, and he did great at that.
Yeah.
But that is only part of his skills, so he is not allowed anywhere at this point other than pancration
Right.
to demonstrate all his skills and to mix them together, because
Right.
that's what it is.
Well, what the point that I was trying to make is we think that we'll be the first organization that will really be able to bring all the martial arts world, whether it be traditional martial arts and mixed martial arts, to the same tournament venue
Right.
for the first time. Because before, you either did tournament for sport karate, or you did tournament for grappling.
Yep.
But there was no place that everybody could go to do whatever they did.
Right.
And the other part the great part of our tournament is, as you know, again, you can come and just grapple if you want to.
Right.
There is a grappling tournament going on at the same time, or you can come in and do pancration and grappling.
That's it, Shady. Lee Beam was at the desk, and we were talking about at the beginning, and I'm saying, well, we didn't drive all the way here to do one thing. So Shane's doing the grappling, the gi, the no gi, the pancration with the youths, and then he did pancration adults. It was just, he was all over the place.
He was all over the place.
Yeah. And it was a good day.
It was a great day.
Yeah, it was a blast.
It was a
Parents
great
there,
day.
the whole family gets to go. It's not, listen, the cage fighting is great, but it is late.
Yep.
You know, I mean, I recommend it to everybody. I recommend going to CFX, going to the fights, bring your family, have a blast. It's almost like a circus atmosphere sometimes, the stuff they had in there. But I love that. It gives you something to do. You can go punch the bag like at the arcade. You can go do pull-up. You can do all these different kinds of things. But this here is great for the beginning. Well, you know, it's great for a mixed martial artist that's out there doing it to hone his skills, okay? Yeah. That's one, because you're not going to be going as hard. You're not going to be worried about getting punched in the face. You're not going to be worried about getting hit really, really hard. So you're going to actually use your skill more than you're going to use your brute strength. Because that's what happens in the ring. I get in the cage, and I get all these skills that I train to use, and I get up there, and I tend to do a
turn back to a beast.
Exactly. I can't do it. So you're forced to do that, and I think it's great for the kids.
I think it's great for the kids. I also think it's great when the parents and the uncles and the grandmothers, you know, can come and watch their kids do that. I mean, the spectators were so into it at that tournament, you know, and they were so respectful.
The owner of that place, this is the first time he's ever seen it like that. He could not speak enough about it.
No.
Send me pictures, send me video. He was just all over it. He loved it.
You know, and one thing that we're looking at adding for this, and this is for hopefully everybody that sees this, we're actually looking to add a division for people that are just like MMA officials. You know, guys who are, because if you're a referee, you can't fight.
No kidding.
If you're a judge, you can't fight.
Oh, no kidding.
You know, if you're somebody who's involved in any way with putting a show on, you can't fight. So,
and that's because of the commission, because you're part of the commission, and there could be a conflict. Okay.
Right. So this is a good challenge to everybody.
Nice. All right. I think we burned up our time. So one more time with the date.
October 1st.
And that's in Smithfield, Rhode Island. North Smithfield, Rhode Island.
Yeah, the wild world of indoor sports.
All right, there we go. And we're going to try and post this on here somehow too, so that we do it.
Go to napaga.com.
For more information, just go there, take a look at it, peek at it, see what you think. See the videos of Shane. Folks, Gary Foreman, Michael the Hammer Mulligan, thank you for coming to another Fireside Chat.